10 seconds.
Welcome to Comic Book Spectrum, a Rising Tide Broadcast Network production. Get ready to explore the world of comics, past, present, and future, with our panelists S Hawkins, Brian Rodman, and Clyde Hall. And now here's your host, Brian K. Morris.
And good evening, everyone. How the heck are you? Welcome to Comic Book Spectrum for November 4th, 2021. We're going to have some fun tonight. We've got all kinds of cool comics to talk about and a topic or two to bring up for your illumination and entertainment. But first, let's get that gratitude attitude going here. And the first one we want to thank is our sponsor for tonight, Plasma Fire Graphics. Plasma Fire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you. When you put together a great book, great novel, selection of short stories, you want the best cover you can get, and that's where Jeffrey Hayes and Plasma Fire Graphics come in. Please check them out on Facebook and see what wonders they can bring to your front cover, as well as graphics to help you sell it and beautiful book trailers, all for indie creator prices. So then after you are marveling at that, go over to plasmafiregraphics.com and check out what all the samples he's got there. And you can contact Jeffrey directly and maybe hire him to put him to work for you. But anyway, Plasma Fire Graphics, they're easy to work with and they do fantastic work, believe me. You'll be seeing something of mine behind one of their covers really soon. That's plasmafiregraphics.com. Plasma Fire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you, because it matters to your readers, definitely. And we also want to thank the Rising Tide Broadcast Network. 7 days a week worth of entertainment and fun. A couple program notes. We will have our regular Nevermind the Furthermore tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. And we're going to have a special clever title pending at 6 p.m. Eastern with Aaron... with my friend Erin Casey. She's going to be talking about Imagine Other Worlds with Authors this weekend, and I will be a part of that. We're going to see what it takes to put on a virtual convention, and your questions are welcome. So anyway, that's happening tomorrow night. And later tonight, we've got Stupid O'Clock post-HalloCon. We'll get a debriefing from all the guys there, and then following that will be Last Man Standing with Dan Hollifield, plus a full spectrum of shows tomorrow, including Drinking with the Davies at 7, and at 8 will be the Historical Fencing Guild with Nicholas Anthony Tockert. So please like our Facebook page and stay on top of all of our stuff. And speaking of stuff, we give stuff to our Patreon subscribers. Patreon is a monthly subscription service where you can support your favorite creators directly. And if you want to find out what we give you in return for your support, come on over to www.patreon.com/Brian K. Morris. And we'll probably post another episode of The Terrors this week. So everybody will want to get in on that. And so I'm going to unmute the other members of the group here. And I'm going to greet my friends here, and hope you are ready for some conversation. We have got the ones, the onlys, Clyde Hall, S Hawkins, and Joe D. McFee. Gentlemen, how the heck are you?
Peachy.
I'm blizzarding.
Oh,
I'm like a blizzard at the Arctic. I had a lot of activity this week, not a lot of result. You know, it just didn't show up.
Just blowing. Just blowing.
Yeah, just blowing in the wind. But I've been busy.
Yeah, I've been busy.
Busy is good.
Yeah, busy keeps you out of trouble, I'm told. Well, maybe in your cases, but no. And everyone, we appreciate your questions and comments. And if you're watching us live, We'll have a conversation. If you're watching us on the rerun, be sure to put comments down below. We'll try to answer them as best we can. And be sure to like, share, and subscribe as always. Anyway, we've got comments to start out the show. And the first one is Donna Carlene. She settles her popcorn and drink, all ready to watch the train wreck.
Airplane crash, not train wreck.
Yeah. No,
Airplane crash. That's a difference.
That's right. We make a big
we have to go with gravity.
Exactly. We take the easy path here. No, as far as train wrecks go, no, stupid o'clock will be on in a couple hours, but hold on for that. No. They're slicker than we are. They really are. And did someone say there was going to be a train wreck? Did we start the show? I think that's kind of asked and answered. And hello, Ted Davies Artistry. Good to see you, Ted. Check out Grim 101 Book 2, currently funding on Kickstarter. And
if you know more about that book, watch me Saturday.
Oh, really?
On the show Saturday, yes.
You have some insider information, do you?
He might share some.
Cool. Great tease from the desk of a small press publisher at 10 p.m., 9 p.m. Central this coming Saturday night, part of the Rising Tide Network. And then, let's see, there usually is, Donna. That is kind of like, yeah. And Sarah, glad to have you here. Mwah. And was that the inside of Brian's ear? That could have been. If you saw that, it was mine.
Oh.
It could be. And
it was something.
I have no idea what you're talking about. And everyone saying hello. And hello, Tommy Sharp. Glad to see you here. As we are glad to see Cindy Kep. Good morning in the Philippines. Well, not to all of our Filipino fans out there. And I heard that, says Joe Dog McKeel, who will be on at 9 p.m. tonight Eastern. And it's always a great show. I'm just teasing. And Joe, and I may stop by, Joe. You never know. And Joe Dog is now awake after 5 days. And Willow Schuyler says they started talking about train wrecks just as I entered the room. Is that time of year or what? No, I'm afraid it's not you, darling, that they're talking about, but I fear it is us, unfortunately. And yeah, Willow's in the house. Anyway, glad to have everyone here. And we might as well begin this train wreck with some introductions. And we'll go around the room. We'll start with Joe, then Eric, then Clyde. So, Joe, tell everyone who you are and why you are so awesome.
Okay, in the spirit of Thursday night football, we got to do this right.
Yes.
Number 14, backup quarterback, Joe D. McFee, from the desk of a small press publisher. So, yeah, I am the president of Assiduously Studios. I am a writer, creator, most known for my series, Amazonia. And as I stated before, we're going to have Ted Davies on from the desk of a small press publisher this coming Saturday, 9 o'clock Central, 10 o'clock Eastern. And like I said, I'm kind of like the backup quarterback here for your comic book spectrum.
We're coming down so often, Joe. You might as well start getting your mail here. That's all there is to it. So, but we're glad to have you, Joe, as always. And somebody else we're glad to have is the one, the only, Mr. Eric S. Hawkins. Eric,
is there someone usually other than Joe? I can't remember.
It'll come to me. Let me check the video.
Well, while you think, I'm Eric S. Hawkins. S stands for Scott. I am an independent comic creator. Best known for the Zombie World of Oz and doing some odd projects for Brian every once in a while. Other than that, that's just me.
Oh, and I thought the S stood for hope. Kryptonians can't spell. I know it's starting early. Well, here to bring us back to Earth, so to speak, is the amazing Clyde Hall. Clyde, introduce yourself, see vous play.
S stands for in this case, right? I am Brian Rodman, and members of an angel. Oh, wait, no. We're missing you, Brian, if you're watching.
Oh, that's the guy, yeah.
See, I knew it would come to you. I'm Clyde Hall, and I am an independent author. I created the B-Man stories that are in Pulp Reality #1 from Stormgate Press. It, along with Pulp Reality #2, are available at www.stormgatepress.com or on Amazon. I hang out with these guys about every week, and then we're starting to do a crossover show, and I'm declaring which trade paperback I am going to be reviewing for our next get together with the Dastardly Dingoes and the Desk of a Small Press Publisher and Comic Book Spectrum, especially for the Thanksgiving month. JLA, JSA, Virtue, and Vice.
Mm-hmm.
You've never had Thanksgiving until you've had it with the JSA and the JLA. So
Good choice.
that's who I am, and you can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Twitter. It's at Clyde or at CJ Hall 1984 on Twitter. Just Clyde Hall on Facebook, or Radiating Positive Vibes with author Clyde Hall.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much, Clyde. Appreciate it greatly. And I've read that book. Believe me, it's maybe Thanksgiving. It's a reason to be grateful, and it's no turkey. Believe me, it was good. Anyway, I'm Brian K. Morris, and I'm a publisher, editor, author, writer of comics and novels, award-winning playwright, former mortician's assistant, and I don't know what it's like not to be busy. This weekend, I will be involved with Imagine Other Worlds with Authors. It's a virtual con that will be held on Facebook in what's called the Writers' Room. It's an organization out of Iowa that helps regional authors improve their craft and to find mutual support. And Erin Casey's in charge of that. Like I said, we're going to have her on a special Clever Tile Pending tomorrow night, as well as the usual show tomorrow, plus any other show I can invade. I just live for the camera. That's all there is to it. Plus, I'm on YouTube. You can find me on Twitter. I don't do anything there. I'm on Instagram. I don't do anything there. I'm on Facebook complaining about Facebook a lot. But other than that, yeah, like I'm the one, right? So anyway, I'm giving Mr. Zuckerberg more reasons not to like me. And believe me, the feeling is mutual. But people I do like are in our audience right now. Like Donna Carlene mentioned the odd Eric mentioned the odd projects for me, and very odd projects if it's for Brian. I can't deny it. And hey, Doris has shown up. We just had a little burp in the comments there. Doris Jones, Labors of Love. Mwah, hail, lovely you. Glad to see you, hon. Hope you're having a great night. Please subscribe to that YouTube channel. And Eric, Clyde, and can't wait, Jody McFee, and Joe Dog. Joe Dog and Willow. He's getting everybody here. I think you missed Carl and Doris. So I think he's got most everybody here. Ted, and please check out Ted Davies every Tuesday morning at 10 for TED Talks, 7 p.m. with Glenn B. Fleming on the Truth Mongers, and tomorrow night, every Friday at 7 p.m. all times Eastern, because that's how I think. And it'll be actually he's co-host. He's actually the flunky of his wife Christine as they do Drinking with the Davies. So I think I've got that pretty well pegged there. And let's see, we've got some new comments and a new podcast he's doing, because like me, he doesn't have enough to do. From the Trenches of Hollywood premieres at 5 p.m. Eastern, and Joe Dog is barely awake and very understandable. Joe Dog put on HalloCon last week, and this man, he's totally type A. He put on one splendid convention, and we'll be talking about it tomorrow morning on Nevermind the Furthermore. Had an amazing time, and I have to say that Joe, you've been to conventions where they give you like an information packet when you check in, and Joe wrote me a personal letter in there that I cannot read without getting choked up. It is so lovely, and I thank you very much for that. So, it's really sweet. It really is.
Come on, go ahead and read it.
No, and also I had
cry, you big baby.
Yeah, no. I can either prove I'm a big baby by not reading it, or verify it by do read it. So anyway, but no, it's very, very, very sweet of him, and I got to meet all of the principals or at least the original principals of Stupid O'Clock.
Oh, cool.
In person. That was really nice. Got to meet the Skunk Rocker in person. And so Sarah says trade paperback of the Immortal Hulk came in today, plus Big Shocker rather. I haven't ravaged Midgard Comics this week. She's put herself on a budget.
Well, so yesterday was a slow week anyway, comic book wise.
Yeah.
maybe for you guys. No, I wound up with no spoilers here, kids. But here is my. You know how I usually get like.
Well, how many DC books came out? That's probably how many Brian bought.
Exactly.
There's a lot of DC books that came out, but not a whole bunch that he reads, other than a couple of Superman books.
Yeah.
I have 8 comics here from my haul, and of that, 2, 3, only half of them are DC.
Really?
Yes. And
the other half Black Label.
I was thinking maybe DC.
No, not even Black Label. These are
okay.
And the other 4 are independents.
Right, because Blue Flame came out this week.
Yes.
I know that. I'm upset because I couldn't get, or at least the store that I asked about didn't have my Mr. Miracle and the Source of Freedom issue 6, which was the last issue for that series.
Well, of course. But these are the 2 I'm going to review tonight. Stay tuned, folks. We're going to have to call the tower. I think you guys will be proud of me. I actually did something after the haranguing I got. I think it was last week. I actually did something that I tell other people to do. But that's the thing about advice. It is only good for others. It's never been used to yourself.
Wow. Okay.
So, at least from my experience.
So if we're calling it into the tower, is it no longer a train wreck now? It's like a Hindenburg moment. Is this?
I told you it's a plane crash. Yeah, we could be a Zeppelin.
Yeah. This is definitely one. I read this book and I'm like, oh, the humanity.
Oh man.
Yeah, it was.
They could drop it from a helicopter over Pinedale Mall. They could.
As God is my witness.
I thought these comic books could fly. I didn't know.
Well, one of them will tonight. I'm promising you
It's
that.
apropos to the thumbnail, so it works.
That's right.
I honestly thought they could fly.
Well, I'm afraid that any place it landed, I'd have to file an environmental impact statement. Let's put it that way.
Ooh, wow.
I know, and in my, and I was going to save this revelation, but in my 6 years of being a customer of Blue Moon Comics in Lafayette, Indiana, this is the first book I have asked them to take off of my pull list. It's gotten that serious, I'm telling you. So, anyway,
like biohazards.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to figure out comics should not become biohazard, but you found one.
I found one. This one is yeah, we'll get to it though, I promise. And let's see here. I just got a notice about house owners. Yes, I am one. And Clyde, your episode of the Dastardly Dingoes was amazing.
Oh, thanks, Willow. Thank you. It was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun with that.
Yeah, it's a fun show, and if you haven't watched it already, it's Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. on the Rising Tide Broadcast Network. Please check it out because we have invaded it so far this season. Now Joe hasn't. Am I right?
No, I haven't been outside of the joint shows.
The crossover show, but you need your solo show, dude.
Yeah.
You're part of
It will
the
happen.
you know.
It will happen in time. I know how Brian is. It will happen in time.
Well, we'll go over his head. We'll go to Chad Nuss.
You must not like me. You're going to go to Chad. I was like, yeah, that's going to be
Yeah. Yeah, and if you want to find out why we're chortling, definitely check out the Dastardly Dingoes on Tuesday night. You will be entertained. And Ted Davies says, DC makes great paper airplanes. That'll be enough out of you.
If you use Checkmate, yeah, I agree.
Well, yeah, that one. Yeah, Checkmate. I bet somehow that could screw up the law of aerodynamics, too, because it's certainly screwing up the laws of storytelling. Anyway, did I say that out loud and repeat it probably if I wasn't clear enough? Yes. Anyway, why don't we get the reviews started for the week? And I know we've got some really cool books going on this week, so and I've got a bunch of them. And as always, folks, please like, share, and subscribe if you would, please, because I can use the people. My Russian bots have deserted me. So let's start with Joe D. McFee, because I know he's got something amazing here he's going to review.
Oh, well, yes. We got some things to say about the book, and I will preface it as this. It's a continuation. Oh, you guys just automatically, here you go.
Dropping you in the deep end, brother. I'm telling you.
It's like, here you go. No warning. But
And I thought, what's the how much preamble is this guy going to give? Well, I might as well give him the spotlight and let him soak in the glory.
Yeah. No, I don't want glory. I just wanted to give that, people a heads up that it is a continuation of something that we brought to this show here. So if you haven't watched it before, go back and watch some of the older episodes to catch up, because I'm not going to give you as much detail in this one like I did with the other ones. But also for your reading pleasure, also check out Eric Larson's version of The Ant. If you remember The Ant from, I forgot Mario's last name here, Eric, he sold it to Eric Larson, and Eric Larson has now brought it over to Image Comics, and the first issue came out last week.
Mario Gully,
yes, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want a quick chuckle and you happen to be in a comic book store, please try to check out this cover of Wonder Woman Black and Gold. It's a laugh riot. Why you don't mess with the lasso of truth. But with that being said, we're going to go right into our review here. And as I stated before, we're doing the continuation of Wonder Girl. Now, issue number 4 came out last week. And if you need a update and refresher, I would say go back and watch the other episodes. Issue number 1 was on my first appearance here. Issue 2 is on my channel. Issue 3 was 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks, somewhere about that. Yeah. So now we're on issue number 4. And issue number 4 had 2 different covers here. That's your standard A cover, and that's the alternate variant. Nice and pretty here. Yeah. But Wonder Girl number 4 takes off where issue 3 left off. It starts off with Yara experiencing Mount Olympus for the first time and everything. And let's just dive right into it. So it deals with her starting to get trained on Mount Olympus. And you see her trying to lull the kindliness of a Pegasus and failing at it. And it's all part of her training by the Greek gods. And then we have kind of like a little bitty soliloquy talking about how Hera's patience is, waning on her training. It's like she's trying to figure out how come she's not taken to the training as well as they thought she would. And again, one of the pet peeves, a lot of ads, so we're going to have to skip pages and everything from, throughout the whole thing. And we're back to the Pegasus and everything, and she thinks that she's kind of winning over the Pegasus and whatnot until Pegasus bite her hand, bite her arm, and she cusses up a storm and everything and whatnot. And they have like a double page spread of reflection about her training and everything and how things are not going well and whatnot. And then eventually in a rainstorm, after she feels what she feels, the Pegasus actually eventually comes up to her and gives her comfort and whatnot. And for the very first time, they bonded. So it's like where she thought she was failing, she was actually succeeding and whatnot in the training. And again, another double page spread, showing kind of like what was going on in her mind and everything. But I'm not going into details because a lot of the stuff that is being shown here plays into something very, very important. But I want you to read the issue before you can find out what it is. So eventually, after the training and everything, she talked to Eros. And Eros kind of, got to the point where it's like he was trying to, let her know about the whole thing about feelings and how she felt as far as leaving everything behind to be there. Now, mind you, if you read issue 3, the question still remains, can he resist his own arrow? Is he in love with Yara or not? Because his actions can be suspect at this point. So the conversation that they have seemed quite genuine about her interest in everything and not letting people down as far as what was best for everybody. And again, more ads. And then after her training was over, she was allowed to go back to Brazil to be with the guy that she was in love with and everything to that magnitude. And they're together, they're having like the general conversation, and then out of nowhere, somebody from her former tribe just pops out of the blue. And they got to talking and everything, and then they touched hands, and then a lot of the history comes back to her memory about her heritage. Again, gotta read the book. And we got more pages about what you should read about, the compelling stuff that you need to read about, the history and why it was so important, and the creature that she saw in the second issue and all the other stuff was so important. And then all of a sudden it's like they come back to reality after seeing, after she had all of that memory and everything. And then she eventually meets up with Artemis and Cassandra, and Artemis had words. Now you have to be mindful. Artemis was sent by Nubia to deal with the situation and everything, and they was trying to get Yara to understand the significance of everything that's going on. Something major is coming down the pike here. And again, more advertisements. Don't get it. And then eventually she makes the decision to go back to Mount Olympus here. And there's Hera and everything. And here she is in her armor and everything with Eros standing there. And a celebration is about to happen. And they brought in the elixir, and Hera is about to dub Yara champion of all time. And it ends there. The champion of what, you may ask? I'm not going to ruin it for you. You have to read the book. There's a lot of history being talked about dealing with Yara and her mother and her mother's significance to the Amazons of Themyscira. Now, the question that I have for those who might be at DC that might be watching is, the events in this book have any effects of what's going on with Nubia and the Amazons? And the reason I ask, because there's a significant theme that's playing out throughout both of those books. So if you haven't read Nubia and the Amazons #1, go and read that. You must read that as well. I believe I did that last week too. So if you haven't read it, go back to last week's episode and watch it. Why aren't you watching our episodes? But nevertheless,
watch them all.
Watch them all. The show needs viewers. So that being said, this book is pivotal because it gives you a lot of the history that is not known about Yara until Yara had that meeting with that Trice woman. But I leave it at that. So I'm leaving a big question mark for you guys to come back and read this book. And with that said, that ends my review here. How would I rank this book?
Yeah.
The book itself was great. I had a hard time dissecting a lot of how everything could end up happening. I mean, it led me to speculate what could happen later on in further issues, depending on whether or not she drinks what I believe is possibly the ambrosia of the gods to fully cement her legacy. So with that being stated here, I would give this book an 8 out of 10 because they extended the mystery about her heritage even further. And now the question is, will she accept that destiny or not at this point? Leave it up to you to figure out what she should do yourself. So, in other words, read the book. I'm not going to spoil this one for you like I did the other three.
You can spoil it on your show. Well, no, we were talking about this beforehand, folks, and one of the purposes of this show is we want to entice you to go to your local comic shop or, whoever you get your comics from and pick these books up, because that's what's going to keep this industry going, on a ground level, and it's something everyone can do as their part of this great American art form going. So, excuse me. So, Joe, when did you get this? When you got this, did you read anything in like previews or anything telling you how pivotal this was? Wow.
It was just revelations that was given in the history. And it made reference to a character that was in issue number 2 and the reason why the bolo was so important. And then they explained the significance of what she is to become and her bloodline. And I was like, oh, can't ruin it. You have to read it yourself.
Right. Now, was in the history that you read, were there any points of it that resembled any other parts of the Amazon continuity from the past?
No, it was if I could put it to you this way.
Yeah.
Issue number 2, it told the legend one way. This issue told it from the Themyscirian point of view.
Ooh. Okay. Nice. I like
Did the full, those big pages, because when I hit that part, I was like, oh, we're having a training montage almost, but they came and went. Did that work for you, or did you find that to be troublesome?
I find it to be kind of like a waste of space, to be quite honest.
Yeah, it does take up a lot.
Because it's almost like they did it to play with your emotions about what she was feeling as opposed to moving the story along. Right. Having that character's feelings and presenting it that way does add to the story, but it also kind of takes away from it, especially after you get to the other parts, which I'm up here. It's like, what, if they would cut it down to one page, you could have did more with this history over here.
And they also just kind of slowed the flow of the book for me, because there's a lot to take in there. And that is good. Details are nice. But then if it's to the point where the book does not continue to have that natural, organic flow to it, it's kind of a start and stop issue in that respect.
Well, they stopped it when she felt like she was a failure. When she was able to befriend the Pegasus the way that she did, they did it again. It's like, you don't need to do it again to show that she succeeded.
Yeah. Okay.
Once she befriended the Pegasus and she was riding the Pegasus, that's when everybody knew that she's ready. The training is about to sink in now.
Gee, wasted storytelling space. That never happens in a DC comic. Checkmate. Anyway. Sorry.
Well, that plus all the ads. I felt that the ads took up way too much space too.
Ads for other DC books.
And they had a double page ad in this book. That's another thing.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, it's in the regular. Oh, yeah, it's true for the other history of the DC universe. That's right. Right? Am I right? Yeah. Although there is one comic book in here that I am getting to replace one that I'm dropping. So anyway, and it's the subject of the DC thing this week. But anyway. But no, that's very cool. And Carl Witzman says he loves that variant cover.
Yes, it is a very pretty cover. It's very pretty.
That really is nice. And that's the thing, Carl. DC has been releasing for God, how long now? And Marvel does the same. Variant covers without all of the trade dress on it. And
the Virgin covers.
The Virgin covers. Well. There's a cheap joke. Well, I'm not going to fall to the occasion.
It has a little bit. It's very small.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, it's very minimal, very unobtrusive, very non-obtrusive, but yeah, I was going to make a comment about many of its fans, so, but I won't because they're for the grace.
Yeah,
of
that'll
God,
drive the
I
new
went.
comic book audience away.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, well, there, but for the grace of God was I a long time ago. So anyway, and yikes, Jody, I watched, and thank you very much, Ryan, for sharing. And Cindy Kemp has a very important declaration here. I at 6:30 Central Time just got the notification the Comic Book Spectrum is live. Good to know. Yeah, we are on time, even if the people sharing this our message are not. Anyway, we're glad to have you here, Ryan. We are doing well. And Mark Wade, Marvel or DC recommendations? Let's take that real fast.
Mark Wade, DC recommendation, Kingdom Come all the way.
10-4. I second that.
I'm trying to think Marvel, what significant thing that he did for Marvel that is just stellar, but Kingdom Come is like the standout for him on DC side.
Yeah, Captain America. His initial run with Captain America with Ron Garney, I would say, is definitely worth your time. He's been back to Cap a couple other times, but his original run, taking over from writer Mark Gruenwald, was, I think, his best. He's done like a lot of other things for Marvel, but that's probably my favorite. There was also one, Birthright, Superman Birthright, which was a 12-issue series that he did for Wade did for DC a long time ago that was exemplary. I'm trying to think what else. There's some other stuff I liked of Wade's. Oh, Impulse and Flash.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I forgot about that.
Yeah, Mark Wade was the one who introduced the concept of the Speed Force to Flash, and he had several good long runs, so to speak, on that title. So I would say Flash, Superman, and Birthright, and definitely Kingdom Come. Hands down, Kingdom Come. Joe called it.
I wouldn't say the full Kingdom series, but at least Kingdom Come.
Yeah, I was a little disappointed in the Kingdom series, but then again, considering how awesome Kingdom Come was, that's going to be hard to top, especially when you didn't have Alex Ross's participation on that. But the Wade also has done some independent books, Irredeemable and Incorruptible from Boom Studios. The entire series are out in trade paperbacks. Definitely consider those two also. And Cindy Kemp says someone's canine co-host wants to join in.
Be mine.
Yeah, well, this show's going to the dogs. We don't need any help. So anyway, but no, thank you, Joe. That was a super review. I appreciate that. I want to read it now. I want to read that book. Damn it! Why did it have to be this one? So anyway,
I told people not to sleep on her.
That's right.
Not to be taken literally.
Oh, well, here to elevate us now.
You're skipping over me?
Yeah, pretty much. Anyway, in fact, we're closing out the show. Good night, everyone. No,
that's all, folks.
That's right. Drive home safely. So anyway, we now turn the spotlight on Eric Hawkins. Eric, what do you have for us this week?
Well, I bought a few books this week. One I didn't even know was coming back out because it's been like 3 months since issue 5, and I still haven't read it yet. But Two Moons is back out, which I love the first 5 issues. So hopefully 6 will live up to the expectations. This one I picked up. I haven't read yet because it just looked interesting, and I did thumb through it. It's got a very Andy Kubert-like style to it. It's The Rush.
Ooh, I love that.
By Vault. And I picked up Amazing Fantasy again just because the cover looks so cool. And so I'm going to go. The Me You Love in the Dark, number 4, will be my main review, and I got to post it.
We're going all out here.
But I am going to quickly go through X-Men Legends number 8 because I was very unhappy with it.
Are we going to go airborne?
The X-Men Legends series has been coming, hot and cold with me. The first 2 issues are good, kind of. Then next 2 were bad. Then next 2, And this one, Larry Hama coming on to write, I thought would be pretty good because it's going to focus on Wolverine. But I just, the art is all over the place. So this page here, I'm pretty sure that's ripped off from Mark Teixeira when he was doing Wolverine. This battle, I don't know what's going on here, but I mean, this, yeah. Look at that. I mean, it scribbles all over the place. I mean,
it's lazy.
Yeah, it's very lazy. Oh, look, there's another Mark Teixeira. Swipe. And then, did I? There it is. This one reminded me of Rob Liefeld down here in the corner. So this guy's art's all over the place. I don't know if he's just hasn't found his style, but I would think if you're doing a pro book, you should have already found your style by now. And especially if you're getting paid for it. Because I think I could do better than that. But wait, hold on.
Thank
there
you.
We go. The Me You Love in the Dark by Scotty Young and Jorge Corona. And I do believe the colors by Jean-Francois Boulet. And the lettering's by Nate Pecos. This is the 4th issue of this, and every issue has been great. Excellent. I would say excellent. I knew Scotty Young from his variant covers you see often from Marvel, the little cutie covers with the little big-headed little guys on them, or his Oz work he had done, which I tried to get him to do a cover for me, but his agent said he was too busy. But anyway, it did keep me from buying this. I'd never read anything he wrote. And the story is about an artist, Ro, who has lost her ability. I wouldn't say ability, but her heart isn't in her artwork anymore. So she leaves the big city to find this small little town and a small little house to get her muse back. The muse ends up being this demon creature ghost that possesses the house, which in the first 4 issues she becomes friends with. And the ghost is the creature or the demon, you really don't know what it is yet, is very nice to her and polite. When she changes clothes, he leaves the room and said, "I will never look at you like that." Until last issue, when she decides she wanted to get it on with the creature. So now she has been stuck in this house for months, painting away. She's happy again. She's been neglecting all of her duties with her agent because she's supposed to have a gallery show coming up. So he keeps calling. She keeps kind of blowing him off, and she'll tell him that she's working on the paintings, and she is working on the paintings. Paintings is apparently very creepy. But now that she's getting it on with the creature, which I don't know how that works really, because they don't show the creature a whole lot, but when they do, it's kind of creepy. But she wants to go outside because the sun's out and it hasn't been out in months, and he doesn't want her to leave. And he at one point says, "Are you saying being cooped up inside with me has not been pleasurable?" That's not true. So, and she's in her underwear when she's saying that. But he's like, "Okay, fine, go." And then he makes a big old dinner spread to keep her there, so she stays. Then she starts getting angry. What?
That's how it works in real life, right?
It does, yeah. You fix food, you're going to stay. Yep. So Ro's getting a little frustrated because as time goes on, the creature thing is becoming more possessive and not wanting her to leave and stuff. And she's getting frustrated because artists were angry people in the first place. And he starts yelling at her and just jacks up her whole studio.
Wow.
That is so weird. I can't see the lettering on some of the panels up there. I thought they were blank. I'm like, what? So he apologizes for being so rude. Then she gets a call from her agent, and her agent wants to come out and see her, and she's like, "No, you can't come. Can't come. I'll have the stuff done, and we'll be ready for the show." Then she pisses the creature off by pulling down the curtains and letting the sun come in because he just likes his house all dark. And he says, "Oh, you're going to regret that." Well, sure enough, the agent shows up. The creature gets mad. I'm going to see if I can find a picture of the creature. It's what they've shown a little bit of. But there we go. That's about the best you're going to see of the creature right here.
Ooh.
It's a bunch of eyes, a mouth, a bunch of mouths. And I think there's tentacles too. There's all kinds of stuff going on in this. So the creature's not happy. He says, "You get rid of him or I'll get rid of him." And then she finally says, "I can't leave. He won't let me." And he's like, "Who?" And the creature's right behind him, bigger than that image there. She's like, "Him." So there's only one issue left. I've enjoyed every issue so far. It's suspenseful. It's creepy. It's very dark, but it has its light tones, and I love the art. I mean, it's not it's a little cartoony at times, a little very stylized. Unlike the book I tossed, which is just rip-offs of most other people's styles. This one, Jorge Corona's got his own style, and I love it. And I definitely want to go look at their other book, Middle West, I think, that all of these people worked on together. There's a whole series, either the colorer, the letterer, the artist, all of them, the writer, all worked together on this before this one. See if it's as good as this one. This one's great, and I am going to give it a 9 out of 10.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh,
I mean, I tweeted Scotty Young how much I love this, and I never do that.
fanboy.
Well, I want him to
Whoa.
draw me a cover.
Oh, okay. So you're sucking up to him, is what you're saying.
All right,
Right?
all right.
Okay.
I
Every
approve,
time I
yeah.
read one of those, the issues of that, I think that they should make a Shudder movie,
Oh,
based on that.
yeah.
I don't know if they would have the budget to do it well, but they've done some good stuff. And
Well, there's not a lot of scenery. They're always in the house.
yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, the creature would probably be the biggest
Right.
budget. Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Oh.
Yeah.
Somebody asked a question for me.
Right.
Well,
How far
we're
did the
get-
book go?
Yes.
Well, actually, we're getting to that. Cindy Camp is
Oh.
going to the dogs, so some of the throwable comics are puddle paper. Mine's not not necessarily absorbent, which I could make another case for that, except I don't have a dog. Will Skyler says that stairway was reminiscent of the house from Beetlejuice.
Mm.
Oh,
Nothing wrong with that. Now, Carl Witzman asks the question that is, of course, on everyone's mind from the start of Eric's review, and how far did that comic go?
That one only went 4 feet. If I would have put it back in the bag, it probably would have gone further. But it kind of stopped right there, right next to the trash can. How convenient! And, it's bad because I really like Larry Hammond's writing. I mean, he did G.I. Joe forever, and I thought him on Wolverine. But he's written Wolverine before.
Right.
It was just I haven't read it. It just the art really took me right out of it right away.
Yeah, that one panel you were showing with the battle with Lady Deathstrike, what it looked like to me, and maybe I'm wrong, but it looked like the artist drew Wolverine posing, drew the head of Lady Deathstrike, and then just drew random hands of Wolverine.
And then drew lines everywhere.
With speed lines.
But they weren't even speed lines. They were just scattered everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, you barely saw a couple of Deathstrike's fingers as if she was responding to the fist. It was just,
Mhm.
I think I can reach it. Hold on there.
it was just, it's like, it didn't make
Let's dissect this.
Yeah, let's do.
it didn't make any sense whatsoever.
It just looked like the artist gave up.
Oh, and geez, he's working on the cover for next issue. It's
Oh.
dang it. Hey, that looks familiar.
He's wearing his
Okay.
influences on his sleeve. Okay, I'm giving you the whole screen, Eric. Yeah, am I wrong? Am I wrong, guys?
You see how it's like towards the bottom, you see Lady Deathstrike's hand, and it's not even fully formed. You see where it kind of like sketches where you see the fingers, and then her upswing and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all over the place.
Yeah, that's bad.
And like right here, you can see where she tried to swipe this way, but he couldn't even catch the arm. Wow. Echo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then Wolverine doesn't even look like he's really into the fight.
Nope.
He's like,
He looks like he's twisting his arm.
yeah, it was just it's bad.
Yeah, I agree. And we got a little bit of echo here.
What?
I don't know. So
Now,
hit the window.
The book's so nice, he threw it twice.
batting cleanup for the California comic book spectrum. Number 3, the 18 catcher, Brian K. Morris.
Morris.
there we go. We've got okay. Who's got the echo?
Well, I muted myself and still heard the echo, so it wasn't me.
Okay, hold on. Hold on, one more verification. Okay. Okay. Clyde, it might be you.
Okay.
I didn't hear it then, though.
Okay. Well, I moved my microphone just a little bit, so maybe it got it out of the zone.
Okay. But am I still here?
I hear it from you. No, I hear it now. So it means he's not muted himself.
But I'm hearing it from you now. Hold on a second. Unmute yourself, Joe. Okay, now hold on here. Okay, hold on. Testing. Okay. It is Clyde, because I've just muted Clyde. Sorry, Clyde. Is there a way we can fix that? Okay, that's better. I'm not hearing me. Okay, sorry.
I'm not hearing you either.
Yeah. Yeah, hold on here. I've unmuted, or Clyde has muted himself. Okay. I don't know what to do, Clyde. And I'm sorry. Is there a loose connection? Because it just started. So. There you go.
No, I'm not muted now, but
okay, here we go. I'm still.
The art was visually noisy.
Yeah.
You still hearing it?
Yeah, it's weird. I don't hear it when you talk, but I hear it when I do.
So I should just mute until my turn to talk, and then it'll be better.
Well, but we want to hear you too.
You will when it's my turn.
Well, okay. Well, just unmute and then we'll shut up when we talk. How's that? We'll make it work. Okay. Sorry, Clyde. But anyway, be that as it may, to give him more time to work on it. Let's just start it out. Okay. Last time we talked about exciting comics. Okay. And Sarah said it's a freaking awesome kind of echo. Great for someone to start making music out of it. And anyway, this book from Antarctic Press started out as public domain redo. In fact, Exciting Comics was a comics title back in the day. In fact, this is number 15, but it also gives the legacy number from the original numbering back in the 40s. It started out as public domain characters reimagined, but in the last 6 months or so, it's been plagued by what I think is rotten editing. Stories just start and stop at random pages. In fact, there's one in here of Nothing Man that, aside from the fact that it just kind of starts in the middle of the story and the dialogue is not really exemplary, except for one character. Only one character has some decent dialogue, the villain. And it happens. It ends at kind of a cliffhanger, but a lot of this, excuse me, it's just very random. Starts and stops to the various stories. They have abandoned the original idea of public domain, and so I actually called my local comics monger and told him to stop putting this away for me. So Exciting Comics isn't.
And they laughed and said, "What took so long?"
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's the thing is, it's advice that I've been giving for decades to people. If you're not liking the book when you buy it, if you're buying it to keep your collection intact or to hope it turns better eventually, all you're doing is telling the companies, "I want more of the same." So in that case, they're gone. All right, so I will not be unless I pick up an issue at the store and they have something good in it. But otherwise, I'm done with it.
Echo again. I would say he's rounding the bases. It going.
Yeah. We got at least. I think we got 6 feet on this one. My previous record is 7, but 6 feet on this one. Mostly because I didn't want to have to file an environmental impact statement. You know how when something gets in the corner and dies. The smell that comes out in a couple days. I'm just afraid if I can't locate that comic, that's what's going to happen. Anyway, moving on. Other things we got this week was a one-shot of Batman, Superman, and the Authority. Pretty well-written issue. I have to say that, and it's a decent story about, it's another cross-dimensional thing, but I'm liking the Authority, and with Superman as the head of it. I will say that it's written by Philip Kennedy Johnson, who's writing Superman action right now, and drawn by Trevor Hairsine, Jonathan Glapion, Scott Hanna, Rain Barreto, and Ben Templesmith. I have to say, Templesmith, who has done a lot of stuff for Image back in the day, he's the one part I didn't care for as much. It was very cartoony. But other than that, decent book, worth possibly picking up. This book just keeps getting better and better. Superman 78, and there is a surprise appearance of a couple of characters. Of course, the cover doesn't tell you a thing. But a couple of things that happened that was foreshadowed in issue 1. And I'm just loving this book all, like mad. Blue Flame, the Blue Flame is out again. The action just keeps ramping up. I'm really excited to see where this is going. Like, is the character mad? Is he insane? Is this a fantasy? Is this a real life caught in a landslide, no escape from reality? Or is he actually a hero of two worlds? This is just a really enticing title here. And again, this book is just getting better and better and better. And there's a little twist at the end that features a character I've never really been fond of, but it's a holdover from a character I did like back in the 1966 Batman. Great stuff. Rick Burchett is back as the artist again, and Justice League Infinity has been really good. And this issue got very emotional, which is kind of cool for a cartoon tie-in. Now, the two I really want to go into depth on. Okay, I'll do it in this order. A few weeks ago, I reviewed Heroes Union, which featured a number of creators from Marvel Comics from about 20 years ago. And this continues it with a number 1 of the unbeatable Blue Baron, who is like the lead of their version of the Avengers or the Justice League. He kind of like, if you put Captain America with Superman's powers, that's the Baron. Plus, he maintains the illusion, like the Phantom, that for the last 300 years, there's just been one Blue Baron. There hasn't. But in this one, due to an accident, the Blue Baron and this teenager switch brains. So the kid is in Blue Baron's body, and the Baron is in the teenager's body. And the kids, of course, got like the usual high school problems, but which he has to deal with. And the kid has to learn how to be a superhero and fool all of the other members of the Union. This is written by Darren Henry, who I think used to write for Seinfeld. but he's also the publisher. The art is by Ron Friends with ink by Sal Buscema, and they worked for many years together on Spider-Girl, another of my favorite Marvel titles. This is a fast-paced, really exciting book. And here's another thing. It's a 68-page book. Okay, 68 pages, including some pinups from Friends and Buscema, some by Buscema by himself, who did the cover. And if you want to list what Sal Buscema has done, that would take about 4 or 5 hours. Okay, he's the brother of the late John Buscema. There's also a pinup in here by Ramona Fradon of Aquaman and the Super Friends comic fame, up on the left there. And more titles coming out that makes me happy, plus a backup with some of the characters, kind of a cartoony thing. There's just all kinds of stuff to love about this. The art is exciting. The storytelling is clear. The writing is dead on. This is a great, great book. And I've told my comic monger to make up for exciting comics to just go ahead and put me down for this book and any of the tie-ins. There's another one coming up called Startup, who is their super speedster, the Union super speedster. But the unbeatable Blue Baron here is really captivating reading, and there's a lot of it. There's a lot of good stuff in here. This one's getting a number. It's 10 out of 10. This trips all my triggers in the right way. And I've got one more book here. It's a kind of a humorous take on superheroes and villains. It's and ask for it by name. My Bad. Okay, I got the variant issue, and the back cover is wonderful. It's drawn. I've got the variant cover. It turns out, and it's by Jerry Ordway. Okay, it's edited by Tom Peyer, Peyer. I'm sure I'm not saying that right. I don't want to say Peer, or else we'll start giggling like children. And he's the editor. He used to be an editor and writer at DC Comics about 10 years ago, and he's really doing a wonderful job here. And what also attracted me was the fact that some of the stuff in here is written by Mark Russell, all right, of Deadbox and Imperious Lex fame and Flintstones, and drawn by Peter Krause, who drew the Mark Waid book Irredeemable back in the day, and also The Power of Shazam for Jerry Ordway. There is just so much going on in here, and it's so good. Basically, it's about the superheroes who are not all that super. The lead story is about their version of Batman. He's called the Chandelier because he's shining a light on crime. But in his civilian identity, the bad guy, the Emperor King, sends him a birthday or a present. And so the thrust of it is that the hero is trying to get somebody else to open the box but him. Because there could be a bomb inside and he doesn't want to die, so he's willing to sacrifice someone else to do it. And then the second story in here, after a parody of the ads from the old 50s, 60s, 70s comics, such as, let's see, here it is, like an ad for dog cigarettes. Dog cigarettes, specially formulated with the menthol flavor dogs love. And let's see. Okay, here we go. Learn Karate. 20-page booklet teaches you all you need to know to vanquish any opponent. Feast upon their humiliation. It works. Seriously, you don't even need to read the whole thing. Try it on anyone. You're a lion. The second story is also drawn by Peter Krause, and it's about their speedster, the Accelerator. And it's he's married like a beautiful model. He's wealthy, and now he's opening a fried chicken franchise. And then there's also a heroes page of another speedster named Rush Hour and why he defends traffic so vigorously. And then there is Bad Words, which is their letter column, and it is funny as well. Plus, they have Bad Libs and a parody of the Hostess fruit pie ads. How how can this get any better? I ask you, in a pinup page on the back, just like the old gold keys. This just tickles me. It's $3.99 from Ahoy Comics, and an important new superhero universe starts here. This is just a joy from first page to last. If I could give it higher than a 10, I would. It and Blue Baron were worth going out of the door and putting on trousers for. Okay, what greater praise could I give it? And definitely, it is a definite 10 out of 10 too. And notice I gave the independent comics the 10s tonight. So in your face, people who think I only read DCs. So anyway, that's my review for this week. And there we go.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Beautiful.
Okay.
I can't hear you.
You don't want to hear me.
Oh, I used to do that to the kids playing Call of Duty all the time. They go, "Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me?" I go, "No, I can't hear you."
And then they turned 22, and they finally dawned on them. So,
I have a couple of questions for you here. If you can hold up those books,
sure.
Books.
The last two?
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, what I find interesting is character design. When I look at that Blue Baron book, you want to know who I see?
Who do you see?
I'm not sorry if you're familiar with the computer game Freedom Force, but that's the Minuteman.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the sidekick is Liberty Lad. I was like, how did they get Minuteman and Liberty Lad in an independent comic book without infringement? But that design is awfully close to Minuteman.
And you know, the other characters in the Heroes Union, they do kind of remind me of that video game franchise, which I absolutely love, and I still have all of the comics, the comic book tie-ins from Image, I think it was. So yeah, I think it's a very clean design, and it's very nice, and it harkens back to I think primarily like the 60s and 70s type of characters. And of course, that's when Ron Friends broke in, Sal Buscema broke in the late 60s. And it's the kind of solid storytelling I like and design that I appreciate. You can just flip through here and you without the dialogue, you can tell what's going on. It's very, and I think that's something that storytelling, particularly in the post-Image age, has really taken a hit. Where, like I read something a few years ago that when Alan Moore was writing Wildcats for Wildstorm and Image Comics, the artists were basically saying, I don't want to draw all these panels. I want more pinups. And they were changing Moore's scripts. And I would think, if anything, you check more scripts for typos, and that's it. He's earned his cred all the way, and I think it's almost criminal that an artist takes it upon themselves to do that, and I think it's even worse that an editor allowed it. So, but no, the story and the storytelling also. Peter Krause also does a super job illustrating this, my bad.
Like that character design for the Accelerator reminds me of Captain Planet.
That's what I thought too.
Yeah, I did too when I first looked.
I was like, is it
like
the Captain Planet variant?
Yeah, but no, it's there's just I can't say enough good about these two books. They honestly, and even Rush Hour. I mean, look at that design. Can you see that? I
can't put my name on it just as of yet, but it's kind of like a cross between Eel O'Brien and another character altogether.
Yeah. He does have vague resemblance to Plastic Man, like in the the face, but it has like
the suit design. I can't put my finger on it. I want to say it's there's somebody from the Marvel universe, but I can't put my finger on it right away.
Yeah, same here. Of course, then again, I think that some of this is supposed to be evocative, if not copy. Maybe. Oh, but that's a nice thing about Rush.
Is that Speedball?
Oh,
Speedball.
Yeah.
Ooh, with different colors, but it could be. You're right. You're right. Very good. But no, this also has like the Handbook of the Marvel Universe stats, like real name, occupation, known relatives, unknown relatives, group affiliation. In this case, it's the AAA Auto Club. Base of operations, first appearance, height, weight, hips, facial hair, tips, Wi-Fi password, origin story, history, mission, strength level, known powers, promo code, secret fear, turn-ons, turn-offs, something he'd be embarrassed to see on his handbook page, what he collects,
Handbook.
yeah, sensitivities, dream vacation, and why we do not serve burgers before 11 a.m. Anyway, it's all on one page. This is, like I said, this is Mark Russell, and who else did the writing in here? Bryce Ingman and Scott Morse, and it's just, there's just, I just love this book, and the I love the fact that I'm seeing like mainstream talent going to the indies.
Oh yeah. Ahoy had a good run of publications before COVID, and then it kind of slowed down to a trickle. And I have not seen a lot that really compelled me to go after it till this. So apparently they are, and they have always been able to draw some decent talent. Mm-hmm. But they had the Edgar Allan Poe Snifter of Horror. That was inconsistently funny. But this looks like it's a much more clever parody, and it's got even more of their big guns. So I'll be getting that. Yeah.
Yeah, and they do have like some of the trade paperbacks. Like I did read the first issue of The Wrong Earth.
Oh, love the Wrong Earth. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a terrific one. And I'm seeing others here, like the Snifter of Terror, Captain Ginger, which intrigues me. Mm-hmm. And
is he a redhead?
It's a cat. It's a cat in space.
I see that. Hashtag Danger. I love that title.
Yes.
And Second Coming looks interesting, kind of like a Superman
Second
parody.
Coming, I read the first series. It is very good. It asks some very, very Dogma-like as far as asking some very fundamental questions and holding up that in a parody, funny, but insightful way. This is the way that Christ was supposed to be. And here is the Superman analog.
Yeah.
And let's bring them together to see how they would relate.
Yeah.
But with a lot of humor. Basically God is ashamed of this savior that is he's so peaceable. It's a very Old Testament kind of God who's like, no, you don't forgive. No. So he's been sitting there watching the religion based on his son grow, and him going, no. Well, then the Superman character shows up, and he's like, there, that guy that can, leap tall buildings. That's what I wanted you to. You know what? Go back down there. I'll let you study with him. And you have the two of them relating to each other. Now, some DC was going to publish it until, before it was ever sent to print, it was just solicited or blurbed. The Christian folks got offended.
Mm-hmm, of course.
And so DC said, we're sorry. Mark, we really like you, but we can't, we can't do that. So he took it over to, I think it took about 8 nanoseconds for Ahoy to go, we'll do it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we'll do it.
Oh yeah.
And, and I read it. It did not impact my faith. It did not turn me into a
heathen.
A heathen. But it was very funny and very insightful. It has, I gave you the funny parts. It has some serious moments. It makes some very good, it asks some good questions, and it has some very good observations about organized religion and faith and superheroics. Yeah. What more could you want?
Well, and I think that's one of the hallmarks of Mark Russell's writing is the fact that he can write a very enjoyable story, whether it's comedy or superheroes or whatever, or horror in the case of Dead Box. Mm-hmm. And in the process, he's got tons of subtext.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
and he's teaching some lessons there that or at least getting you to think about it. I shouldn't say he's telling you what to think. He's at least guiding you to ask the right questions.
Right. And The Wrong Earth is beautiful. The first series. Now, they did some follow-ups that I thought were kind of weak, but that first series is basically, you've got, it kind of reminds me of the old, that show with Newhart, where he was a comic book creator. And he created a Silver Age.
Appeared on one episode.
Yeah,
Image Crew. Yeah.
And so he had created this like Golden Age or Silver Age character that was very, nice guy and everything. And then this new comic company wanted to upgrade it, so you had the old-fashioned Mad Dog or whatever, and then the new crazy. Well, there are two Earths, and one has Dragonfly Man, who is very 1960s, and the other has the Dragonfly, who is very 90s.
Oh wow!
Well, they switch Earths by accident, thanks to the supervillains. Oh yeah, it brought that. It was that first series was excellent, and the artwork, just chef's kiss artwork.
Yeah, it was pretty. I only have the first issue. I want to get the entire series eventually. So, Comixology, I'm putting you on notice. I'm coming your way. So, anyway, Sarah is detailing her adventures in the real world. Went to Walgreens to get some needed things and came across a section of Funko Pops. The universe was really testing me, but I refrained very reluctantly. They seriously start carrying a line of Funko Pops the very next day. I started policing my budget. For shame. And per the ad complaints, the old comics I find have awesome ads. Yes.
Yeah.
Because they were from, like I love the old DC and Marvel ads from the 60s. But, the thing is, most comics now, DC, I think this month, just started running some ads for Rue Morgue magazine, which is the first non-DC related ad, I should say.
Do they own the magazine?
Do they own the magazine?
Isn't that what you said? So there was an ad for a magazine?
No. It was an ad for a magazine called Rue Morgue.
But does Warner Brothers own that?
Yeah, that's a good question. That would not surprise me. Because, you go through a DC comic and it's all, if it's not DC itself, it is something like, say, Doom Patrol.
Geico.
And what now?
Geico.
Oh, Geico. Oh, cool.
Why do you have an ad for Geico?
Yeah. Oh, and there's one in here for the Blade Runner for Adult Swim. So that's new. But everything aside from that, everything else is a DC comic. Or like I said, like Doom Patrol is a or Black Label or DC hardcover, and the Suicide Squad movie release. So, but anyway, I've been disappointed with that. Anyway, per the ad complaints, the old comics I find have awesome ads. Right below the Funko Pops were gorgeous figurines of Jack Skellington and Sally. Serious? They're out to get you, Sarah. And loving the old original prints of comics. Amazing. Some of the artwork would be amazing to frame and hang on the wall.
Oh, if those were Funko Pops at Walgreens and they were the horror pops, they should have been on clearance for 70% off, I believe.
Ooh.
I've got to connive a way to get to Walgreens now. Not that I need any more Funko Pops in case you're
That's
watching.
not helping Sarah. Sarah's trying to save money.
No, it's not. No. Or
Brian off and giving her more reasons just to buy.
Do you have your Funko Pop handy to show everybody on the show tonight?
Oh, give me a moment. I have to disconnect for a moment. So everyone talk amongst yourselves. I'll be back. So.
Okay, while he's gone. Now.
I'm tired of him too, Clyde.
He's back. And so then she said, yes, that would be very fine.
I think he's getting ready to rip one.
Why do you think I disconnected everything? Anyway, no, here is something. I'm going to take the full screen on this one, and I'm going to take that down, and here we go. This is courtesy of Damian Waldron, who does toys for Ted
Oh,
Davies.
Toys.
Oh,
Yeah,
toy.
yeah. Oh, toys.
Oh,
Huh?
nice.
And it has a book in one hand. I thought it was a gun the way he's holding it, but it's actually a pen. And it has the little fez, the tassels in back. And if you want one, contact Damian Waldron, and he'll make you one from O Toys.
Not for free.
Oh, the hell no.
What he's going to do with what I gave to him.
Oh, yes, that's right. He's working for you, too.
Oh.
Very cool. Very cool.
It's kind of an even trade. It's like he's taking one of my models and seeing what he can do because he's getting a brand new 3D printer.
Oh,
Yes. He's going to be able to literally mass produce these things in a month or two, which I'm really excited for him. Anyway, Marshall Lewis has joined us. Marshall, glad to have you. He's sitting down, closes the portal, and watches. And Sarah, the ads today will be cherished decades from now, right? Sure. And thanks, Eric. Love you too. And very festive. Yes, everyone should. That's the thing. We ought to get him to make our own Funko Pops of all of us. See, Joe, you're going to be glad you signed on.
I tell you, I saw that on your profile, and I started looking up how to print the custom boxes out for them.
Ooh.
I found some templates.
Ooh, I think you and Damien need to join forces here. So, anyway, that's my review. That's my Funko Pop. It's mine, all mine. And now we move to the highlight of the evening. The review from the one, the only Clyde Hall. Clyde, what do you have for us tonight?
Hello. Well, Ted, get ready because I'm not reviewing a DC book or an independent this week. I'm actually tackling a Marvel book. And I don't do that very often, but I found an issue that was recommended by one of the other fellows on the show here, and a series, a title, and I found number 4 of this new series to be very, very worthwhile. So before we get along now, Ryan was asking about Mark Waid, and the name of it escaped me for a second. So I looked it up after he asked. There's a 12-issue miniseries that they put out through DC called this Silver Age that Waid wrote. And
oh, right.
Yeah. And that was one of my favorite. Now, it is very nostalgic. Some modern readers might not care a lot for it, but there's a time in DC where superheroes were out of vogue, and you had people like, you had characters like the Martian Manhunter, who was kind of science fiction-y and alien, but he kind of was a superhero originally, but he was more like a detective from another planet.
Exactly.
With superpowers. And you had things like, and they were all backups normally, or they shared a title. Like a lot of times Martian Manhunter appeared with Robbie Reed and Dial H for Hero. Again, kind of a gimmicky superhero idea, not somebody that would generate the interest of a Superman character. But that was about all that you had, those sorts of characters, when superheroes, before the Silver Age began. And right at the beginning of the Silver Age, they were there when the new Green Lantern and the new adventures of the new Flash began. So it kind of made a bridge between those two eras, because it's very much about Robbie Reed and Martian Manhunter and a connection between them. And them working with the Justice League. It's an old-fashioned kind of story, but I really liked it. I think I was in a vast minority of fans. I don't think it was a very popular series, but it's one of my favorite from Mark Waid, just because it fills in those gaps. And I always loved Dial H for Hero, and to see him incorporated more fully into the DC universe of the past, I like that concept. So that's my Mark Waid. If you haven't checked it out, and especially if you like the history of comics and the history of DC, that's a good series, I think, to check out. If you can find it. The last time I looked, it was hard to find copies. So, but my review for tonight is going to be a book that Eric had talked about Moon Knight #4 from Marvel Comics. And I'll show you some pages here. I have not been a long-time Moon Knight fan. Comes and goes. Like, I read West Coast Avengers and caught up with him at that point a bit. Eric told me Jeff Lemire did a series of it, and I have not caught that yet. And I really love Jeff Lemire's stuff, so I have to go back and read it now. But I love the way that the villains were framed in this. We have a guest star in Tigra, the Werewoman. We have some dramatic moonlight scenes with Moon Knight. And eventually, we get into some action sequences. I like the paneling on this, the way it's all split up. And also, I love the effervescent look surrounding him as he reflects moon glow. I really like that effect. So, a little bit of artwork there. But, as I say, I am not a long-standing Moon Knight fan. And so I'm very pleased with this. As somebody that is kind of playing catch-up with the character, I really like what they're doing with him in this series. So it's Moon Knight #4, Marvel Comics, $3.99, written by Jed McKay. Art is by Alessandro Capuccio. Colors by Rachel Rosenberg. Letters by VC's Corey Pettit. It is rated T+. The first 3 issues of the new Moon Knight series were very good. And fellow reviewer Eric S. Hawkins lauded #1, but have you seen how many Moon Knight shirts this guy has? Can you really trust his judgment?
Two. And I made them myself. 2.
Have you seen how often he wears these Moon Knight shirts?
My wife said, "Don't you wear that Moon Knight shirt tonight? You've worn it the last 2 weeks in a row."
See. So can you really trust his judgment on, hey, this new Moon Knight series is great? And it was already on my pull list. To be honest, it was already on my pull list. But imagine my surprise to find that our consummate Fist of Khonshu fan did not embellish one whit regarding what a fine launch this title received. A few elements were uncertain. They created a Mirror Darkly villain from the premiere, and that comes with a certain amount of responsibility. Opposite number characters should be as complex and as compelling as the hero they reflect. To tackle establishing one for Moon Knight while beginning a new run, that seemed ill-advised to me. Earlier this year, when I saw a new book try the same thing, it became gimmicky real fast. Moon Knight deserved better than that, so I was kind of leery, but he got better, thanks to the scripter, Jed McKay. Rather than some silly Daylord or something like that, he got Hunter's Moon, the other Fist of Khonshu, as a sensible, well-conceived new antagonist with just enough fleshing out to make his eventual return an anticipated treat and not a dread. So by issue #3, that part of the opening conflict was resolved, if only temporarily, and without dragging the introduction out for this new villain. The satisfying wrap of last issue left me wondering, though, what would McKay do as a follow-up? Where would he focus next? Inward is where it turned out to be, for a sleek standalone issue which progresses the wider-ranging storyline, but not at the cost of McKay's primary focus for #4. That matter is posted by the therapist, Dr. Andrea Sturman, doing her best Sopranos Dr. Melfi turn in fathoming Mark Spector's reasons for wearing a mask. Because he does. I mean, more than many of the most masked adventurers, since this title started, we have seen Spector in his guise as Mr. Knight, his office persona for Midnight Missions. And we've seen him in his field identity, the champion which defends night travelers, Moon Knight. Different sides of the same being, but both fully masked. I don't mean dominoes or cowls. I mean full face coverings. He's never without one. And while this is the sort of dedication that luchadors admire, even they normally have access portals for mouths and noses and things like that. And say what you will about the miracle of unstable molecules from Reed Richards in the comic book world, the last few years have been a real world class on how uncomfortable masks can be. Yet our hero is never without one. So the good doctor asks why, and effectively sets the narrative trail. The question may be a standard approach for someone like her. She's a therapist who specializes in superhero types. Reasons vary, and knowing why, whether in specific terms or general ones, unlocks keys to understanding the person beneath the mask, maybe for her. Even if the responses are half-truths or platitudes like Spectre gives initially. To protect those I care about. People don't need me, they need Moon Knight. Or the more profound answers. My favorite this issue being, it's part of my vestments. Same as the costume. A suit or a shroud. They're both things dead people wear. Spectre's final and honest answer, though, comes near the issue's end, arrived at with the help of a friend. And it rings clarion true for his character. Reunions happen here. Some are good, like Tigra. The banter of a couple of wackos, West Coast Avengers, catching up. It lightens the book's tone and gives it some balance. Catching up with a villain like Rampage, the everyman villain born in the 1970s recession, who harassed the first Champions team back in the day, was unexpected. Mainly because when I perused that origin story in Champions #5 back in 1976, I thought Rampage was a throwaway villain then, and he'd get spindled by Hercules and never seen again. Instead, McKay catches up with Rampage, who looks like he might be part of the same puzzle Jigsaw came from, the Punisher Jigsaw, not the cinematic one. His white collar villainy, though, puts Moon Knight under his thumb, driving the conflict of the issue at distance and giving the personal interactions center stage until action begins. Whether it's comedic dialogue or serious introspection, recaps of what's come before in little blurbs within the front cover, or deft information dead dropped within the story, issues like this are making Jed McKay a new favorite writer of mine. Alessandro Cappuccio, his artistic muscle may come primarily in action sequences and intense personal interactions or conversations, but there's certainly reason, and that's certainly reasons to enjoy the work on Moon Knight. But with Greer Nelson's visit, we get a view of a lighter and even playful handling of characters in the narrative, and it doesn't distract from the gravity of the issue, but it adds another pleasing factor, a pleasing facet to a nicely polished graphic gem. It's pleasing enough that when he uses a 4-panel page layout, you appreciate the quadraphonic detail he sometimes works into it. I especially like his visual versions of Tigra. She is brought to life as the right blend in this issue of fellow veteran superhero and visiting past college roommate. The way that color artist Rachel Rosenberg works the palette in #4 is a gateway to all variety of shadows. While most books of a certain nocturnal bent rely on seas of pitch black, Rosenberg's shadows, while deep, usually don't lose all their colors. She crafts this with varying shades depending on the ambient light. It could be moonbeams or sodium street lamps or naked incandescent bulbs, but she works it into the shadows. And this variation lends some realistic shadow play to the panels, making Cappuccio's work really pop. And her silvery ethereal edgings, I'm going to credit her, I think it's probably her work, especially on Moon Knight Under the Stars, is iconic. VC's Corey Pettit gets some serious work on the lettering for huge computer monitors with repeated code during certain spans of this issue, along with a few smartphone displays. These are in addition to solid dialogue work and low-impact sound effects. Again, we're dealing with white-collar crime, hand-to-hand combat, and the audio is kept minimal as it should be for sounds. So, it's early for New Year's resolutions, Marvel, but would you consider this one? Maybe try publishing fewer monthly titles, but making them all as good as Moon Knight? Because after this issue, I'm convinced people are going to be reading and rereading this run. They're going to read it as interest builds for the Moon Knight Disney Plus TV show, yes. And they're going to be reading it long after that as a defining examination of the character for this era, I think. My score for Moon Knight #4 is 9 out of 10.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy cats. You rarely give above an 8.5. So
See?
I guess. Holy cats.
But yeah, I even kind of I kind of asked Eric if he was as impressed as I was with this current run, and that's where he was telling me about Jeff Lemire. And I've got to go back and read that now. But this issue had a lot of heart, and it was just well done on every every level. So, yeah, I don't give 9s very often, but this series, I just didn't expect very much for issue 4. We got the three issue entrance for Hunter's Moon done. We have a big bad looming in the background, but we don't know who he is yet. I just didn't expect too much out of issue 4. And then I got all this. So, I can see where Eric's love of the character comes from. The more I read of this title, this series. So
it's kind of interesting. I think that it's all about masks, and what most people who are unfamiliar with Moon Knight don't realize is that Moon Knight has more than one secret identity.
Mm-hmm.
He's Stephen Grant, Jake Lockley. He's multiple personalities.
Mark Spector is the one that he uses the most, but yeah,
right. So there's levels to this. There's layers.
Yeah.
But you mentioned this as issue 4. Now I've had a thing for a long time that the number 4 issue in a lot of cases are very significant and should be maintained. Like issue 4 of the Justice League of America was when they introduced Green Arrow. Issue 4 of the Fantastic Four was when they reintroduced Submariner. Issue 4 of the Defenders was where they introduced the Valkyrie. And there's like a whole progression of other comic titles where issue 4 has some sort of big deal about it. So
tradition, following tradition.
You're muted. There you go. Did you have something to contribute?
I said, crap, I work on issue 4 of the Zombie World of Oz.
No pressure. No pressure. So Joe, did you have something to say? Something to add?
I was just curious about, because he mentioned a character that I know more about her than I know about Moon Knight, which was Greer, aka Tiger. Or should I say, aka the Cat?
Beware the claws of the cat.
The Cat.
Yes.
So I was like, maybe that is a perfect fitting for all of this, because she kind of went through the same thing, being the so-called guardian based upon that necklace.
Yeah. She was the perfect guest star for this, I think, and she added a little bit of levity where it was needed, but not over the top. She's the person that you would want beside you when you're in battle, and also afterwards when you're talking yourselves down from that. That's the kind of character she came up. And we've seen a lot of sexualized versions of her, because a cat girl is a cool idea. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. But in this case, that's not the role that she's playing. And I really appreciated the styling of her look, the approach that the character took. And yeah, it was I got the Cat series until it was discontinued, and I didn't follow as much with Tigra afterwards, but I picked up a couple of Defenders issues because Hellcat came back and we had the yellow cat suit again, and I wanted to see that. So yeah, I've been a Greer Nelson fan a long time, and this has made me want to go back now and read more, see what else the character's been up to. So,
well, apparently she has a kid.
She has a kid, yeah.
I did not know that.
Other dimension, off world hopping, so she's got time on her hands, apparently. So I hope she becomes a semi-regular with this. I don't know; it may just be a one-shot visit.
I think that'd be cool, because they were in the West Coast Avengers together for a little while. So I think that'd be cool.
Yeah,
I like the West Coast Avengers. That they had some really good stories and some decent talent working on it too. Like Steve Englehart, Al Milgrom, Roy and Dan Thomas, John Byrne for a few years.
Just giving some of the kind of second tier popular Avengers characters more of a spotlight. Was great. Yeah,
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed that book a lot. So anyway, Sarah had to run. She's got some work to do in the morning and tried to listen, take care of it, but she failed. We were too distracting. Much love. Love you, Sarah. And we love you too, Keisha. Have you, beautiful person, you. Glad you can make it. So thank you, Clyde. Thank you very much, sir. And now see, we the four of us talk. We all talk. Now let's see what what annoyed us this week about comics?
Paper shortage.
Yes.
Paper shortage.
Yeah, I'm running into that in my comic shop. They have normally Blue Moon, like when I pick up my stuff, puts it in a bag and back. They haven't done that for 2 weeks because they're running out of boards and backs.
But that's supply chain.
Yeah,
That's
my
supply chain,
fulfillment.
so-
Yeah, my fulfillment got delayed about a week and a half for me to get more bags and boards.
Wow.
When I was fulfilling, I never imagined that would be the thing I couldn't find.
Yeah.
But what Image announced? Didn't Image announce that they would no longer be doing second printings?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and DC has put off some titles
For comic book,
supposedly as a result of the paper shortage, the
Right.
impending paper shortage, I should say.
right. And so if you don't get it, basically pre-ordering is good if you want to have it in your handbook. And if you don't get it the first run, you're going to have to wait for the trade to come out or pay speculator prices, because I expect speculator gasm to just go through the roof.
That's the thing that annoys me all
Yeah.
the time. Speculation. I hate it.
Yeah, I'm
It's like
anticipating
people out of
something
Bronx.
coming up next month, the Kal-El book. I'm sorry, Joe. I'm sorry. But
No, I'm just saying it just priced a lot of people, especially new people, out of books. It's like
Yeah.
how can a book come out this week and then 2 weeks later it's $15-$20?
And you know what it's gonna-
speculation because of the simple fact that you're taking in consideration of a collector that's willing to pay it as opposed to the true value of that issue.
Right.
And
You know what it's going to do for new readers? They're going to go, but I want to read Moon Knight #5. And they were all out. I didn't pre-order it. Hello, Comixology. And that is fine that they can get it that way, but it doesn't help your local comic book shops very much at all. So,
or even worse, they'll just say, well, if I can't get the comics I want, I'm out of the hobby.
Yeah.
Because that's what happened in the 90s. You know, people, and the same speculator craze is what kind of helped, secure some of the nails in the coffin of the industry at the time. I remember I had my own comic shop for a year or so in Illinois, and it and the non-sports cards were big, and there would be people who would buy a comic on Wednesday or a card set on Wednesday, then come in just a few days later and expect to turn that around for a profit. But as we have said on this show before, I believe that once you find out that there is a craze going on, you're at the wrong end of it. Because there's a whole big thing about, it's the old thing about supply and demand. At the early part, a demand is, I think, usually artificially boosted by a lot of places that have, this is something I found out about a certain magazine Wizard that they used to do. They owned books. They owned a comic shop, and the people that work for them in their price guide also, of course, they owned comic shops, and so they would say, okay, ABC comic is worth you bought it last week for $2. Well, this week it's worth $50. What they do is they just put that price up there. A lot of places put the price up there, and too many, readers / collectors think, well, that must be the value of it. That is the perceived value. I mean, when in all my years of working comic shops, I rarely had anyone say, is that really what it's worth?
Right.
And I think this is maybe a case of that, where some speculators somebody ordered a case of it and they're thinking, I've got to get rid of it. But I want to do it at a profit. I want to make each comic pay for that case 5 times over. So,
and cover variants. I mean, I can see that where people go, do you want the cover variant of this issue? Oh, there's more than one cover? No, there are issues that have no cover and issue that has a cover. Which do you want because of the paper shortage?
See, Brian brought up some things that I remember distinctly with the 90s, like going to shows and arguing with vendors especially the ones that wanted to use the Wizard pricing versus Overstreet.
Right.
Because it was a major big difference between the two back in the day. And I believe that was the beginning of the end, because the Wizard prices were pretty much higher for the newer, more modern books than it was for some of the older stuff. And it made it difficult, because it's like, to be quite honest, it's like a lot of the older books became more affordable based upon the fact that, Spawn #1 came out. Now Spawn #1 is like $200 and something. I could take that $200 and something and get, like, back then, a Hulk 181. Easily.
Boy, I wish Spawn was $200.
Now I'm talking about now, but I'm talking about back in the 90s. Back in the 90s, it was like, that's how bad that speculation was. I remember paying close to like $30 a pop for each one of the 13 covers for Gen 13 #1.
Right. I remember that. Yeah.
I got them in the box set, that slipcover, the black box that had the Jim Lee autograph in it and the Campbell autograph. But I had to order that early.
That came much later. I'm talking about when they first came out. It's like 1 week you got it for cover price. That following week, it went through the roof. I was like, even back then, I didn't think much of it. It's like, now I'm looking back, it's like, that's what really killed the industry as a whole.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. People weren't collecting for the love anymore. They were thinking that they were going to buy a car in 2 weeks based on owning those comics. And then you had it driven by, I think Wizard is the culprit, because they were also telling you that, J. Scott Campbell is a hot artist. Boy, howdy, he's a hot art. They had their top 10 every month, and artists were, and even, the industry itself were falling for it, because, there were competitions between artists and writers, to stay on that top 10 list and rise if they could. But you talk about value. I remember I sold my Harbinger #1 I've said this before, but I've sold my Harbinger #1 for $150 as per the Wizard price. I picked up a replacement for that issue about 10 years later for $1.25 in a box in the same condition. So yeah. And people, there are books out there, folks, that'll explain what the 90s were about, but it got to the point where, again, like in several other periods of time, a lot of companies went under. Marvel went into actual bankruptcy to the point where it was one of those times where the rumor was that Marvel was going to sell their intellectual properties to DC because they had to, and their first stock offering crashed. They had to reoffer the stock. I know, because I invested $200 in Marvel stock, and I wound up getting a check for $11 when they liquidated it, or not $11, excuse me, 11 cents. When $200 turned into 11 cents. But I also got a comic book that's probably worth more than those stocks are right now. I could probably resell that comic and make my money back. But it was like a comic book version of their stock report. And they would have, like, seriously, they would have, like, the Hulk, going, Hulk smash, Hulk, hate this person. But by the way, Hulk, remind you, we have ancillary investments in multimedia corporations. Here's a report on the next page, So it's kind of surreal to see these characters fighting. Then the next page, they're telling you why the stock is worth what it is. It's insane. It's really fun. So, but yeah, that's the thing. We've been seeing more variant issues. We're seeing more speculation going on. And they say about forgetting the past.
Doomed to repeat it.
Doomed to repeat it, exactly, Joe. And we could be heading for another downturn in the industry at a time when there is a possible global recession because of the supply chain and other factors. I'm not saying it's the death knell for comics, but I think we all need to be very mindful.
Sound like a comic skater there.
What?
A comic skater.
Oh no.
Industry's dead.
Yeah, no. I am not that way because I think that I'm saying the comics industry will survive, and I'm not talking about just about web comics. But that brings up something that annoys me. It's funny, and we'll name names here. Ethan Van Sciver. I know I dare invoke his name. If I say it 4 more times indoors, he will appear. But anyway, no.
I don't think he can fit through the door.
Ooh, ouch. Send your letters of commentary to Eric Hawkins at
How did it go?
Yeah. Really. Yeah. And la. But no, I remember a year and a half ago when of course the coronavirus was firing up and the comics industry came to a virtual halt. The mainstream comic industry, and Ethan Van Sciver was saying, "Oh yeah, DC plans to, kill their entire line of comics within 6 months, that sort of thing. This all fits in their plan." Well, one, notice they're still around. Two, I also found it amusing that any other time when like BVS was talking about positive aspects of the industry, the mainstream comics media were like, he's full of crap. All that's nonsense. But when he's predicting the doom and gloom, suddenly it's like, we have verification from Ethan Van Sciver, who hadn't worked for DC Comics in about a year and a half by that point, saying the comics industry is dying, so it must be true. And there was some other issue that, it was when DC announced that John Kent would be bisexual. He started talking about how this was DC's plan all along to get rid of the legacy characters and replace them, like with the new Wonder Girl or John Kent or the full face mask Batman sort of thing. And the same people who couldn't give Ethan the time of day for his pronouncements, all of a sudden, see, it's true. It's true. It's kind of like that scene in Life of Brian by Monty Python, where the mob is following Brian and saying, "You are the Messiah, you are the Messiah." And he goes, "No, I'm not." And, they're all going, "Only the true Messiah would deny his divinity." The mob believes what they want to hear.
Mm-hmm.
So much for investigative journalism. It almost makes you miss the Comics Journal.
Mm-hmm.
Not enough, though.
I just think about how they say with the death knell when Diamond decided not to distribute, and then DC pulled away. I was like, well, DC was the one that caused the mess in the first place for that monopoly.
That's true.
What makes you think that they can't break it?
Yeah, and there were rumors for years that DC had a financial stake, that part of their participation hinged on possibly owning shares in Diamond for a certain amount of time.
That I cannot prove. Only thing I know is what the owner of Miles High Comics stated in several articles about the history about how DC used to distribute direct to comic book stores and how that program eventually changed into where we're at with Diamond.
Right. And that was another factor of the 90s that I actually see as a good thing, where Diamond got all those exclusives, where DC gets its own section, Marvel gets its own section, Boom gets its own section, that you sign up with us, we'll give you your own space in the Diamond in the previews catalog, and everybody else goes into the green section. But now we're seeing the distributors breaking up. And I think that's, that there's more distributors out. I think that, maybe not immediately, but I think that will bode well for the industry because there's competition.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I want to see
some monopolies, and people don't understand that Diamond has been a monopoly for way too long. And was not a monopoly caused by sheer customer service or sheer value of service. No. It was made by publishers, mainly two, gave up their own distributions to form that monopoly.
That's true.
For that company.
Damn those Archie and Harvey people! I tell you.
I'll tell you, procurement wise,
makers.
Diamond's like a comic shop's best friend, honestly, because it's a one-stop shop for everybody.
That's true.
It's better business wise for a comic shop to just pay the one bill to one person, get everything you need from one person. But yeah, and everybody still complained about Diamond regardless. But procurement wise, that's the best option for a comic shop. But now they gotta go and they're getting what Penguin is shipping a almost damaged box every time they send out Marvel books.
That's
Yeah.
that could be like,
it's more headaches for a comic shop. Well, I got file damages here. I got file damages here. Oh, I got terms with this guy here for 30 days, 60 days here. Okay. Yeah. One-stop shop's best, but it is a monopoly. And
that's the thing. Competition brings better service no matter what.
Yeah. Well, and again, here's something I said, that back in the day before I had my own place, if Diamond started acting up with us, or wouldn't take damaged returns, or wouldn't make good on something, I would just say, okay, fine, I'll call Capital City. And Capital City was just like a puppy dog, like, yeah, look at those books, just like would fall over themselves to provide the service that Diamond wasn't. And I can fill this show with horror stories, just, my dealings with Diamond, just mine. And of course, it's kind of like the Postal Service. They do good more often than not, but when they screw up, they go straight from minor inconvenience to cataclysmic. So I understand, and Eric, you made a good point that, now there's multiple shipping charges, different deals with
payment
everybody.
terms and stuff. Well, I've done procurement for like 20 years, so yeah.
There you go. Yeah, and that's that can impact a lot of comic shops' bottom lines, which is why it is more important than ever that we support them. So
yeah, one of my shops just posted this week. Sorry guys, our Diamond order is going to be late again. Again.
Ooh, ouch.
It's just so many horror stories out there. Like I said, reading a lot of those articles that the owner of Miles High is like how stores went bankrupt within the first 4 months of starting their shops because of Diamond, and how they have to procure and how the money flows. They were forcing these brand new shops to go into bankruptcy because of the simple fact that they had to buy all these new books, but yet they had no other stock. Right. So they don't have any back issues or anything to make up for the difference or the downfall of the, keeping the record straight. So if you have a brand new shop that only had brand new issues, they were dead in the water. Yeah. Coming out the gate. They Diamond knew it. Diamond saw it as an opportunity to make quick cash.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and comic shops have a history of being underfunded to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
And then you saddle them with that kind of debt and bad service. I totally get that. Which is a shame. And Randy Zimmerman, about 3 or 4 months ago on that Sunday Funny show, had a fascinating discussion about his days back in the 80s of dealing with Diamond, about how and I never realized how deep it went, but Diamond actually could dictate terms to the publishers and tell them, here's the format you're using, here's how many issues you're going to put out, here's what you will be producing. That they were kind of like working both ends towards the middle.
Has anyone heard how Randy's doing?
Yes. Friend of mine said that Randy is recuperating. He is still in the hospital, but it sounds like he's being weaned off the respirator.
Cool.
So, yeah.
Good.
Yeah, that's good news. Definitely good news. And Randy, get well soon. The broadcast network needs you. The world needs you. Because I'm really excited by what Indy, the new line Arrow 4.0 was doing.
Mm-hmm.
And they put out a couple of things already. That's because I pledged to their Indiegogo campaign, and I was totally knocked out by the level of quality that those books put out. And I'm really excited for indie comics, because that could, I think that could be a new gold standard for our industry. So tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. Okay, anything make us happy this week? Maybe we ought to close on that.
See, that's the better quicker. You're up here talking about what ticked us off. It's like it's a lot of things that are just bad.
Yeah, hours later. But no, it was what made us happy. What made us happy? Now,
yeah, his moving target.
I really did get a kick out of the DOA take of this first issue.
Yeah, I didn't pick that up. I didn't see that. It might have been gone from my shop by the time I got there.
Clyde, did you get the new Pennyworth?
No. I don't want to buy a book just to have it fly,
Speaking of flying, there was a book that came out this week. My shop didn't have it. It was something carrier. It was about pigeons.
Really?
Yes, and I was looking for it. They didn't have it.
Wow.
Oh, I know where to go.
About pigeons? Hold on.
Yeah, is carrier something or think the Goodfellas from Animaniacs?
Oh, yeah, Animaniacs.
But yeah, that's what it seemed like.
Wow.
And I wanted to get it, and I was like, no, they don't have it.
I'm wondering if it's the book that I'm thinking of. If it's from the creative friend that I know of that did that book. Give me 1 second here.
Okay, and I'm looking. Was it Carriers?
Carriers. That was it.
I'm looking at it right now on leagueofcomicgeeks.com. Thank you.
Oh,
Eric. Yes. And actually, that's a pretty nice looking cover.
If they had that, I was going to review that this week. I thought that just looked cool.
It does look interesting. Fable, Gladius, Cherry Bomb, Dark Dove. No one has heard of these brave heroes yet, but they are the only thing standing between the citizens of New York and the unseen terrors that lurk all around them. I'm reading from the League of Comic Geeks site. A band of weaponized carrier pigeons, they soar the night sky looking for new threats and find their largest one yet when the Croc King comes climbing out of the New York sewer. Wow. Holy cats.
A carrier pigeon carrying a sword.
Well, yeah. And wearing a helmet. And there's one with a gun.
Yeah, but that's in like his bottom claw. I mean, the one with the sword is gripping it with his wing. It's just like look weird.
Yeah. That's kind of cool, though. That's kind of cool.
I have to look for it again next week, because some of those smaller books they do get like a week later or something.
Ah, okay.
I ordered one that I'm kind of in the same boat. It probably won't be here on time because it's from a small company. I hope that they can get it at the local shop though, because I just want to read it and hopefully review it. It's a 80s or 90s wrestling retrospective, but it's Macbeth done as wrestling.
Oh my gosh, really?
That could be cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
Very cool.
I know. I just read the blurb and went, I must have that. But it's a very small company. I can't remember the name. I don't know that I've ever reviewed anything from them before, but it was a good pitch. I was like, okay, you have my interest. We'll give this a shot. And and it seemed like the creative team were some people I had heard of too. So I was like, oh yes, let's just see what the announcer Will has for us tonight. Ladies and gentlemen.
Oh man.
Let's get ready to Shakespeare. Here we go.
Now, Eric, God. If I do get that book, I probably have to get the B cover to that.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Seeing the one pigeon carrying this USB cord, like
it's amazing.
I mean, it's like, yeah, another one holding, swords that look like two halves of his scissors is like standing there. It's just like, this is just too hilarious. It's almost anthropomorphic, but not anthropomorphic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm looking at the site here, seeing some upcoming comics. It's kind of reassuring. I'm only going to get one comic next week.
Oh.
Action Comics. So yeah, I'll be reviewing a DC comic next week, kids. Just so you know.
Ooh, issue 2 of Carriers are in pirate gear.
Yes, I look at that thing.
I must find this book.
Oh. And see, that's why we do this show, so we discover new comics, and hope you all do the same.
And
So
can
run
buy
down
them,
your
and they can take them off on our taxes. It's great.
I'll run it by my accountant.
Well, technically you can. It's research material.
That's true. That's true. That's true. That's why I'll, honey, what's this $200 bill on Comixology? Well, it's research, sweetheart. I will print out the receipt later, and we'll take it off our taxes. Yeah. So anyway, Carl Wisman says, "Good show, guys. Thank you, Carl. Appreciate that highly." And Cindy Kep is running out of battery. Bug out later. Thanks, bro.
No. Battery has to be charged.
I understand that, but anyway. So I think we've covered the industry. We've solved all of its problems. Yeah, really. I washed my hands of this. So let's go around the room. Why don't we? And let's tell everybody how they can keep up with our amazing adventures. We'll start with Clyde and go clockwise. So Clyde, lead us off. How can people follow you around?
They can follow me around, I guess. Just pacing me if catch me leaving the house, but it doesn't happen very often. Otherwise, you can find me online, www.stormgatepress.com. We have my character, B-Man, in anthology books from Stormgate, Pulp Reality 1, the award-winning Pulp Reality number 1, and Pulp Reality number 2. They are both available on the Stormgate website or by going to Amazon. They just announced a cover reveal this week for Pulp Reality number 3, coming very soon. Has a beautiful Stephen Burks cover. So soon you'll have 3 chances to get on all the goodness of B-Man. B-Man, who is a new pulp hero that finds he has the ability to channel the powers of any B-movie character that's ever played in the theater that my hero owns. So imagine, what would you do if you could be any B-movie character from any serial or B-movies of the past from 1966 and earlier? You can also find me on Facebook under Clyde Hall or Radiating Positive Vibes with author Clyde Hall. I am on Twitter at CJHall1984. Or you can tune in here again every Thursday night, 6 Central, 7 Eastern, for Comic Book Spectrum.
And they should. Excellent. Thank you so much, Clyde. Appreciate it. And here he is, the one, the only, the charming, the lovely Eric S. Hawkins.
And Moon Knight lover. Hey, you can find me pretty much anywhere. You can find me on Twitter, ES_Hawkins. You can find me on Instagram at eHawkins1971. You can find me on Facebook or Meta, if they get to use that name, under Eric Scott Hawkins, Eric Hawkins, Stone Door Studios, or the Zombiful World of Oz. Last 2 months have been pretty chaotic and just pretty much I've been very unproductive. So I'm a little 2 months behind in issue 4, but issue 4 is still being produced, and it will. I'm still shooting for March for a launch, a couple months ahead of normal. But also, I will probably be publishing 2 other indie creators' books next year along with mine. So hopefully that works out.
Nice.
Expanding the brand. Yay.
Way to go. Diversifying your income stream. Thank you very much, Eric. Appreciate it. And here he is, our designated pitch hitter, and we're always proud to have him here, Joe D. McFee. Joe, tell everybody how they can keep up with you.
Well, you could always find me on my show from the Desk of the Small Press Publishers, Saturdays at 9 o'clock Central, 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. You can check out my books here, like, this is the Greg Horn version of AWF number 3. Our Indie Vote nominated comic here for Outstanding Ongoing Series, AWF Primetime Saturday Night, and our flagship comic Amazonia at SCGCstudios.com. You can get all the books there. You can get it at I believe it is now the KDP online store as opposed to Comixology. Comixology is still around, but they integrate to the KDP store, and it's a mess. I did a video on it. Go watch the video. Can't explain it right now. But if you need to really talk to me, you can catch up with me on Facebook. I rarely use Twitter, but I do have Twitter, Instagram, DeviantArt. I'm normally around somewhere on the internet here. As of right now, the only thing that I'm really looking forward to is getting the module for the upcoming role-playing game for Primetime Saturday Night done. I'm just now putting the finishing touches on a 6-page story here. I don't know who's going to draw the actual story as of yet, but that's as far as I could go because of an NDA. So there's going to be another story that's going to be out there that's not up under the C2C Studios branding. So that's a good sign here. And issue number 7 of Amazonia is coming soon, as soon as Corey Green finished the colorings on the last 12 or so pages.
Nice.
So pretty much, catch up with me this Saturday. If you haven't already heard or paid attention, Ted Davies is going to be on. We're going to talk about Grim 101 Book 2, which I highly suggest that you back as well, because Book 1 is interesting enough where we're going to have a lot to talk about. And I believe there's going to be some other tidbits and exclusive information that's going to be disseminated on Saturday's show. So I hope to see you guys there.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Joe. And rounding out the crew,
Wolverine.
me in the bottle city of Candor.
Yes.
Anyway, thank you guys. Appreciate you as always. And I'm Brian K. Morris, the ringmaster here of the animal world. And we can be found mostly at risingtide.pub, where you can check out our latest episodes of our YouTube offerings. Also see what books we've got out and how you can purchase them. And we also have a Patreon page. Here it is. And you can see what we're offering you for your monthly stipend that supports the Rising Tide directly at www.patreon.com/Brian K. Morris. And many of these people have their own campaigns going on Patreon. Please check them out. We are part of the Rising Tide Broadcast Network. Like I said, right now, Joe D. McFee and company are doing Stupid O'Clock, a great, fun, intelligent nerd conversation show. Pardon me. Followed by Last Man Standing with Dan Holofield. We'll be on tomorrow at 10 a.m. with starting out your day with Never Mind the Furthermore. And then we're following up with a special Clever Title Pending at 6 p.m. where I'll be interviewing Aaron Casey of Imagine Other Worlds with Authors. It's going to be a great a virtual convention this weekend for writers, and I will be on Saturday and Sunday, including a panel with Aaron where we talk about self-publishing versus traditional publishing. And on Saturday, we're going to be talking about imposter syndrome. But anyway, please check out the Rising Tide broadcast page on Facebook, and please give that page a like if you would. And let's see what else. Check out all the other shows we've got going on there. And I think that's mostly it, except to say that this episode has been brought to you by Plasma Fire Graphics. Plasma Fire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you. Whether it's a book trailer or graphics to help you sell your book or the cover itself, Plasma Fire Graphics has got you covered at very affordable prices. So check them out on their page on Facebook. Also check out plasmafiregraphics.com where you can contact Jeffrey Hayes directly and talk turkey with them. We're coming up on Thanksgiving, people. But anyway, please check them out. They are wonderful to work with. That's Plasma Fire Graphics when the look of your book matters to you. And that should wrap up the show. We'll be back next week with another packed episode filled with comic reviews and discussion. And we hope you all have a good week. Hope you visit your local comic shop and pick up some new stuff. All right. So as always, folks, thank you for being here, whether you're watching us on the rerun or watching us live. Please like this on Facebook. Please subscribe on YouTube. And give us a thumbs up if you would. That would help us so much in our searchability. So as always, folks, I'm Brian K. Morris signing off, saying stay smart, stay safe, wash your hands, and never apologize for being awesome. Have a great week, everyone. We'll see you next week on Comic Book Spectrum.
Thank you for watching Comic Book Spectrum, a Rising Tide Broadcast Network production. Please join us next week for another look at comics, past, present, and future. If you enjoyed this, please give the show a like and be sure to subscribe and share it with your friends. To receive our free monthly newsletter, go to www.risingtide.pub and be sure to give the Rising Tide Broadcast Network page on Facebook a like in order to receive news about upcoming shows including Clever Title Pending, Stupid O'Clock, Clever as Hail, Comics Chaos and Sass, Tidbits and Scribbles, the Historical Fencing Guild, and never mind the Furthermore. See you next week.